Hi folks, and welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Corinne.
And where are we today, Corinne?
So we're doing a little exploring around the Leeds, St. George area and maybe as far as Hurricane over to the east. We're checking out some interesting canyons and washes and maybe some waterfalls.
Well, there's some waterfalls. This is the historic Babylon Trailhead. Corinne was just catching a picture of it. And there's a few parking spots here. We went up a little ways up the trail through that cut there, which is beautiful, with lots of river crossings. It actually makes the trail quite a bit of fun. Hi folks, well Corinne and I found some rock art, and we've actually managed to climb our butts up here to actually get a close look at it. It's absolutely beautiful. It's on the Babylon Trail, going out to an old town called Babylon that was here when there was still mining in the area. So this is part of the Babylon Trail. Corinne's a little ahead of me here, going over some of the bigger rocks. The trail starts, I think the trailhead is where the former town of Babylon was. And that town existed when this area was predominantly a mining area. Sorry for the jerky camera motion as I walk across these big rocks, trying not to fall on my face. I don't know how far we're going out in this trail. Corinne and I had a very rich lunch, including a milkshake, so we're just getting a little exercise to get rid of the milkshake. If you decide to come out on this trail, just recognize you're going to have about 3 or 4 boulder to boulder water crossings. So far we haven't got wet feet. So Corinne and I left the historic Babylon Trail, which is actually right down there in that green stuff. And we are heading up what's called the Mine Shaft Trail. It's a beautiful walk. It's very, very easy walking with a little bit of elevation change. And once we reached the top of the trail, we took a few photographs and then turned down and hiked back to the car. Once we got to the car, we followed the road the rest of the way down to the river crossings, although we decided that the river was flowing a little bit too strongly for us to cross. And from here, we went back up the road towards the camping area. As you can see, it's a very well-graded, pretty nice road to drive on. It's just basic sand, gravel, and with some actually deeper sandy spots. But otherwise, this is a very simple road. Once we got near the camping spot, we departed this road and decided to head cross-country. Corinne found what was supposed to be a fairly simple road that would take us from the camping area towards Toquerville, where we would find the Toquerville Falls. This road turned out to be a little bit more challenging than we had anticipated. And here is the exact moment we decided to go down a more difficult trail. In fairness both to Corinne, the navigator, Onyx Off-Road, which we were using to find these trails, judged this trail to be a level 3 trail. As it turns out, it was much more than that. Although it doesn't really show it on the camera here, you know that when Corinne gets out of the car and decides that she's going to guide me through some of the obstacles, things are getting a little more interesting. So here I'm turning around. The Onyx Off-Road led us to an obstacle that was essentially about a 4 foot to 5 foot straight up rock. Not something that I can get over in our Gladiator. So Corinne decided to get out and go and search for a bypass. And the rest of this is just me following her to the bypass. Now, Corinne and I recently just put a new Harker camper on the back of the Jeep, which made the back end of the Jeep a lot heavier. So we took it to Dixie 4-wheel drive down in St. George, and they have beefed up our springs and put a stronger sway bar in the back of the Jeep, and it does improve the ride. Corinne found the bypass, and it was pretty straightforward. And once we got over to the other side, the road improved quite a bit, except for a few spots where it had been heavily washed out, and you essentially had to place your wheels on two sets of rocks to get through, and that's actually what Corinne's guiding me through right now. It took about another hour and a half to complete this trail, and fortunately after this point, Corinne didn't really have to get out too much more. The road was quite flexy, but other than that, it was pretty straightforward. So when Corinne and I finished this road, we headed towards the road into Toquerville Falls. And unfortunately, we didn't film the front end of that road, but it was even more challenging than any of the roads we'd driven on that day, at least for the first mile or so. Once we got to the top, it turns out that the road's pretty easy to drive on. The road up to Toquerville Falls is extremely difficult and definitely a 4x4 road or a side-by-side road. I wouldn't recommend taking up any kind of regular passenger vehicle, even a small pickup truck that's only two-wheel drive. And of course, once you get to the top of Toquerville Falls, you have to do what everybody else does, and that is drive across the top of the falls to the other side of the trail that can take you down the mountain. But we understand this is a much more challenging trail, and frankly, we were here to do some photography.
Well, we've reached our destination of Toquerville Falls, our highlight for the day. Sun's just going down behind the hill to the west. We're going to get a few shots, and then we're going to head back out because the road is quite sketchy, and we'd like to not have to do it too late at night. Just over here to the right of the falls, on the side we're on, someone's had a little fun with putting up an alien on the tree. So here's a view of the Toquerville Falls, the upper part of the falls. There's another segment over to my right that I can't get below, so I'm just doing the upper part, and you can see my camera set up here. The sun's gone down behind the hill to the west, so we have a bit of shadowing here, which is good for getting our light balanced in this picture, because you can see the back hills there are still brightly lit by sun, and that would make it hard if I had that kind of sunlight down here on the falls. So I'm just setting up my camera, doing a couple shots from this location, and you can see there's a little tree down here with some yellow leaves on it I'm capturing, and then I might try another spot to see if I can get the tree eliminated. So I've set up my camera in another position where I'm to the left of this yellow aspen tree, and I've set my ISO to 100. My aperture is at f18, and I'm trying to lengthen the shutter speed, make it longer so that I'm blurring that water a bit. And what I've done to add to that feature is I've put on a 2-stop solid filter on the front of my camera there, and that darkens up the front of the lens a little bit, lets a little less light in, and slows down our shutter speed. So we drove across the falls. It's fairly shallow, there's a little ledge, and we get a better angle on the falls from this side, which is kind of to the south side. We have to be careful about framing our picture, because if we go up too high, over on the left there, we get that blue sky that gets a little blown out when we try and slow down our shutter speed. And also you can see that top of the hill still has some sunshine on it. So I'm orienting my photograph so that I'm lowering it a bit this way, but still capturing that nice cottonwood tree in the top, just over the biggest flow of water. So trying to get that just framed up right so as not to get too much exposure on one side. We have some folks here on motorbikes that are doing runs across the falls. It gets a little deep for them. They have to watch the ledges.
And here are a few of the photos that we took that day. We sure hope you enjoy them. Well, Corinne, what did you think of our day of overlanding and photography?
Well, part of our overlanding trip was way more adventurous than I was hoping for, but it was a good day.
Corinne picked a supposedly easy trail that turned out to be a lot less easy than she thought.
Well, it was rated 3, and we had done an early morning spot that was rated 3, and I thought it'd be the same, but it wasn't.
It really wasn't.
And then the first part of this trail to get to the falls was
terrible.
But then we got on to the second part after a Y in the road, and it became like a forestry road. It was really good.
Yeah, that part we really enjoyed. So that was kind of nice. We got some nice photographs, and we had some fun with some motorcycles zipping across the water. That was a lot of fun.
But it is getting dark, and we don't want to be out here on a dark road, so we're going to boot it out of here.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here. I'm not looking forward to that last little piece down the Toquerville Falls road, which is really gnarly. So we're going to be doing that in the dark, and that's not going to be much fun. Anyway, let's bring this video to an end. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up.
And if you want to see more of our videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below.
And then when you want to know when we release videos, if you hit that little bell button, you'll be informed about all the releases.
And we love your questions, comments, thoughts, ideas. So go ahead and put anything you think about down below, and we will respond as soon as we can.
And until next time, bye for now.
Bye for now.